Hello and welcome back to Continental Club, where we discuss the hottest topics in European football. Henry Hill has just told a terrible joke off camera and is having a debate about Cole Palmer on the WhatsApp group. It's that sort of Thursday as you guys watch it. Henry, you okay?
Yeah, good. I will get to the bottom of that joke another time. But in more positive news, I think we've been building towards this for a long time, guys. Galatasaray are in the Champions League.
Yeah,
I think it's huge. Mulder, see you later. The greatest circus in European football is coming to TNT Sports. Am I allowed to say that on this channel?
I think you probably can.
I'm pretty buzzing for it. I think it's good. Like, we'll finally get to see if this bunch of Mavericks can do something.
Absolutely. They are a passionate fan base. I put out quite a mundane tweet about Galatasaray midway through the summer, and it got retweeted by one of those Galatasaray fan accounts, and it just went absolutely mental. They absolutely love it. They are buzzing for this season. McCubs, are you buzzing for today's episode?
Yeah, as always.
Good.
As always, buzzing for today's episode. Buzzing to be with you both.
Love to
For some
hear
reason,
it.
it feels like it's been a while, but it has only been a week.
I think it's just been because we've been working quite weird hours.
Yeah.
The days have been a bit longer, but it is great to be here. We are going to be talking about deadline day deals that your club has to get done. Basically, guys, we are shooting this, as you probably know by now, on a Wednesday. This goes out on Thursday. So we're not going to try and bring you up-to-date information because the situation might have changed by the time this video goes live. But what we will try and do is give our opinions about these potential transfers that might or might not go through. So bear with us. But first of all, Henry, we're going to kick off with a deal that is definitely completed. Benjamin Pavard to Inter Milan. This came in from Maltese Inter fan. What do we think?
Yeah, I mean, when we put this question out, I think this hadn't quite had the here we go,
Exactly,
as it were. And it has now. And it's been on and off for a while now. It looked like it was going to happen, but then Tommy Tuchel came out and said that they would need to get a replacement in order to sanction his departure. Looks like it could be Trevor Chalobah, who's
Looks like it could be.
getting Pavard his move to Inter. And I've got to say, I love it. I love this transfer. I think this is such smart business from Inter Milan. 30 million euros plus 2 million in add-ons. Considering what a weird transfer window they've had, and the last few signings being Arnautovic and Alexis Sanchez, who are quite clearly just stopgaps towards them having the funds to bring in another forward in 12 months' time. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind the Arnautovic deal in particular. I think that's fine. This is a really great deal. I mean, if we look at their current centre-back options so far, because really Pavard wants to play centre-half. That's part of the reason he's pushing to move away from Bayern Munich, and where his options, his chances are going to be limited. He's probably third choice, maybe fourth choice. Even though last year he was their second most used outfield player after Kimmich. But still, Inter currently have Bastoni, who's great. De Vrij, who's probably been on the way down the last few years, hasn't he? Got a contract extension, which I think is really smart. He's still 31. Acerbi, he's like 35. Don't get me wrong.
Boss last year, though.
Yeah, what a quality player he was last season. Darmian is 33 as well. Let's face it, he's probably going to have, another season potentially. Then Jan Bissek, he's 22, coming from Aarhus in Denmark, so he's still relatively unproven. To get in for 30 million euros, someone of Pavard's quality at 27 years old, the ability to play on the right wing, right back as well, if needs be, behind Denzel Dumfries. I think this is really, really remarkable. He ranked second in the Bayern squad for tackles last season, first for interceptions, and second for clearances too. His progressive passing numbers are massive. He can also score a goal, can't he? We've seen him score some great goals over the years. He's got an eye for a key pass. I don't see, this is just a great it's a great signing. And you can see him being there for years. He could be there till he's 34 or something like that, just playing in this Inter side. It's after what's been a slightly strange summer, to go get a World Cup winner with over 200 top-flight appearances of Pavard's level. I'm surprised Manchester United haven't made more of a play for him, in all honesty. It's a great move. And yeah, like you said, he's at there's clips of him in Milan sorting out the move. It's done. I'm really pleased for Pavard. He's going to get to be a main man at a great club, and I think they've captured someone that could be the stalwart of that defence alongside Bastoni and potentially Bissek for many, many years to come. It's great business from Inter.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, on paper, Bastoni, Acerbi and Pavard, absolutely beautiful with DeMarco and Dumfries down either side. They probably needed a statement defensive signing because Jan Sommer's probably not quite the level of Andre Onana, although respect Jan Sommer, particularly in his Gladbach time. I think he was brilliant there. But after Skriniar's departure, I think Pavard is of a similar-ish level to Skriniar and a little bit more versatile as well. So I think this is great from Bayern's perspective. Mizraoui started the season really well, actually, and was looking for regular minutes. I mean, there was rumours that he was going to leave this summer, but he looks now like Tuchel's nailed on right back. But Trevor Chalobah, great move for him. I think he's quite a step down on Pavard personally, but he hasn't been bad for Chelsea. He's actually got a really good winning record there. So if it's a last-minute deal, Trevor Chalobah, not the end of the world to get in. But yeah, I think we're all big fans of Pavard to Inter. Let's move on to Ben Flyde's suggestion, or Ben Flyde, I think. He's talked about Randal Kolo Muani to PSG. Now, this is far from completed.
Yeah.
This is sort of rumbling on. It's been rumbling on for weeks now.
Well, let's see. Because, I mean, by the time this goes out, it will be one day before the deadline. And things are moving pretty mad in terms of the Kolo Muani situation. PSG, €80 million bid rejected, supposedly by Eintracht Frankfurt. Kolo Muani now really pushing for this move. Even you told Florian Plettenberg, kind of one of the transfer gurus of the Bundesliga, saying that I hope Eintracht will let me leave and join PSG. I always gave my best, but it's no secret. PSG have made a record offer for me. He's very keen. He's a Paris boy, and apparently, I think according to L'Equipe, he was in Paris as we're shooting this. I guess trying to make this deal happen on his own end. He's been out of training.
Odemwingie style.
Yeah, Odemwingie style, maybe. I don't know how outrageous he's willing to go, but apparently he's there. Apparently he is in Paris. It feels like, I don't know, like, I think Frankfurt this summer, it probably, I don't know, they would be able to get another probably great season out of him, but offers like that don't come around that often. And if PSG are willing to put up another €10 million, I can't see why Frankfurt would not sanction the sale, especially given that it would probably include Hugo Ekitike going the opposite way. And I think Ekitike, I know he didn't really get much of a say last season in that PSG side. PSG maybe at this moment in his career a bit too much of a step up for him. But we saw, before he went to PSG, when he was at Reims the season before, like just how exciting a prospect he is. And I think at Frankfurt, Frankfurt's a really good place for young attackers to go to. We've seen Jesper Lindstrom get that move to Napoli now.
Has he?
Yeah, he's joined the Neapolitans. Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah,
Lozano's going to PSV.
Back to PSV.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I love that transfer. That's so fun.
Sorry, I nearly pulled down the light there. Such was my excitement about Lozano going to PSV. So I guess that makes sense, doesn't it? In terms of Lindstrom going there and a place opening up in the attack for him. But yeah. And Frankfurt, okay, so they've lost Lindstrom, they've lost Kamada. Like, this would be a big loss for them. So I see why they're holding out a bit. But from a PSG perspective, it's a lot of money considering that they already signed Gonzalo Ramos this year. But at the same time, I don't know. I think there's something to be said for PSG just stacking this forward line. Muani is quite versatile. He can play on the right or the left. Seems to be a bit of a running theme in this attack at this moment in time. We saw Asensio start up top for them on the weekend, as he has done for Spain. Yeah, scored a really good goal as well. And with Mbappe and Ousmane Dembele on either flank, like there's a lot going on there. And I think if Muani was willing to bide his time a bit and split minutes with Gonzalo Ramos, I think there's a really, really fun attack there. And let's face it, they're probably, they're probably doing this in preparation for Mbappe leaving next summer. Like, I think if there's a move that almost confirms it, it's something like this. But having said that, I think, Kolo Muani and Mbappe would, play fantastically well together. I mean, they linked up really well at the World Cup, in particular in the World Cup final when Kolo Muani came on. They looked a much better team. Mbappe looked a lot more alive. I really like him, and also his output's brilliant. He got 24 goals and assists last year. He overperformed his XG a little bit in that sense. I think he was supposed to get just under 19, or no, just under 20 goal involvements according to XG. But I mean, his carrying numbers, his dribbling ability, is undoubted. Like, I think he makes them again. Also, he's someone who, over 2 legs in a Champions League tie, could also be a game changer. So yeah, I actually really like this move, to be honest. Money is practically an object for PSG. You have an elite French talent coming back to Liga, and that PSG side in general, especially the attack now, very, very Parisian, very, very French. I really like it.
Yeah, absolutely. The all Frenchness of it is quite attractive as well. Let's see what happens, because I think it's tied into Ekitike's future as well. I think Ekitike's wages, I was reading, are around €7 million per year, which is absolutely vast. So I think it's going to be very difficult for any club to go get him over the line. But let's see what happens. You'll have more information by the time this video goes live, of course, on that one. Yeah, hopefully it happens. I think Kolo Muani to PSG, excellent move for them. Mehdi Taremi to Milan was suggested by Hussein Kasser, and he said also a DM. So the latest, as we have it, is that Milan wants Taremi wants Milan, but Milan are supposedly reluctant to spend to the €25 million asking price, but they are going to try until the end, supposedly, on this one. He reportedly rejected a €35 million per year contract by Al Hilal in June. So he's really, put his heart set on going to a top European club rather than taking the Saudi money, which at his age has to be, slightly applauded, I think, compared to a lot of players around Europe this summer. There is an argument, why do they need him? They've just signed Okafor, who can play centrally or on the wing. But Giroud is 36, and yes, he's gone off like an absolute Parisian French rocket this year, looking as sexy as ever as well. But he can't, lead that line by himself. Okafor adapting to a new league. Origi hasn't worked out as a transfer. So if they want to challenge on multiple fronts, which they did last year, and go deeper in the Coppa Italia than they have in recent years as well, then I think they need another striker. And Mehdi Taremi would be a brilliant pickup, I think, on the basis of his FC Porto form at least. Great story as well, came to Europe pretty late, but last year 31 goals and 14 assists in 51 games. So despite his age, he's still staying fit enough to play over 50 games for FC Porto. He's got a great Champions League record in the last few years as well. 9 goals and 5 assists in his last 22 games in the Champions League or Europa League. He's got goals against Liverpool, Chelsea, Atletico Madrid, Juventus. He got a brace versus Bayer Leverkusen last year. So I think he's of the calibre to instantly improve that Milan attack and definitely improve their bench as well. And Giroud is now 36, as I said. His fitness can't be relied upon as it once was. And Milan have started really, really impressively this year, given the amount of new players that they've had to bed into that side. I think the owners deserve respect. And I think if they get this one done as well, I think they have won the window very much.
Yeah.
And there was talk about a DM as well. Hussein Kasser wanted me to talk about a DM. This is basically because Krunic has actually had to start both of the games at DM. Benacer is out until November. It's a difficult one because Benacer, when he is fit, you probably do want playing in this side. But at the same time, he's not a natural defensive midfielder in the same way that Nicolas Dominguez is, who they were linked with, who's now gone to Nottingham Forest. And I actually wrote down, could they go and get someone like Wilfred Ndidi? He's now going to Nottingham Forest, apparently. So the options out there, I'm not entirely sure who they should go for. There's been so many defensive midfielders moving around this summer for vast prices. There doesn't feel like there's that many top options. Amrabat now looks like he's going to Man United as well on loan.
Do you not think Loftus-Cheek could maybe play a bit deeper to take minutes away from Krunic if necessary? Krunic is fine. I don't see what the problem with Krunic until November
maybe
is.
until November is better than Loftus-Cheek.
But there's basically no cover, is there? I think Loftus-Cheek's looked really good going forward, hasn't he? Yeah, it's a bit of a worry, but equally I feel like you want some cover. You want some cover, don't you? But equally, if they can kind of meander along a little bit, not dropping too many points until November, then Benacer comes back. I'd still back him, I think, to win the league.
I think, as we said probably before the season started, it does look like it's going to be a 3-horse race. I mean, maybe that's ruling out Juve a little too early, but Lazio have started really poorly. Roma haven't got going yet as well. Inter look really strong, and I think Napoli have started really well as well. But Milan scoring a lot of goals. It's very fun to watch them at the moment. Let's stay in Serie A, Henry, and talk about their new guy at Roma. MCFC Joe wants to talk about Romelu Lukaku. Again, when we asked for your suggestions, he was in a lot of them, but it looks like it's done.
Yeah, I mean, look, good on him. He's got a club, finally.
Do you think he's slightly lucky?
Yes, I think he's very lucky. This is an interesting one. I was reading a great article, actually, in The Athletic about this. This is a huge gamble by Roma, really, because they don't have any money. Essentially, they are complete. The failure to win the Europa League last season has left their finances in a real state. They've not been in the Champions League for 4 years. Mourinho wants more options in that forward line. They just got Azmoun on loan from Bayer Leverkusen, who was not good for Bayer Leverkusen, it has to be said. I like him. I think he's a decent forward. Had pedigree at Zenit. But yeah, it's not an ideal backup to Belotti. Certainly with Abraham out for an extended period of time.
Mourinho also said we only got Azmoun because he was so bad last year.
Is that what he said?
He was like, the players that we're signing are available because they weren't very good last year.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he
Which
can...
is a way to welcome a new signing.
Yeah.
As well.
That is not the confidence boost you need after getting a sort of move away. But yeah, Mourinho's also come out and said he reckons they're going to finish 5th to 8th. That's what he said already. So
it's like when
I think
Moyes said Sunderland were going to be in a relegation battle after one game. It's not great morale boosting, is it?
Pinto's been under pressure to get like a pedigree signing. Mourinho wanted another forward, and they've gone and got Lukaku, which, let's face it, that's pretty good in terms of the forward line. 5,000 fans greeting him at the airport. What's he scored? 57 times in Serie A. 57 goals, sorry. So I've got no concerns about his pedigree in that division so far. He is, to quote Steve Walsh, a big baby. Will he be able to if Belotti's playing well again this season, if Abraham's coming back, that's 3 forwards that basically do the same thing. I know that they've tried to play Abraham and Belotti up front last year together, but I don't think it was working particularly effectively. McCubbin's giving it the head shake.
Yeah, it just does seem, they do just seem to have 3 players in a very similar, they're not exactly the same strikers, they do have different attributes, but how many of them can play in the same team? But equally...
Look,
why not?
Yeah.
Like Belotti's injury record isn't great either, so there might be a point where Lukaku is the only out and out number 9.
The fact they're not in the Champions League and they've been able to attract a player of Lukaku's caliber a year after getting Dybala through the door, I think that's really good. But they basically have to get into the Champions League positions for this to be worth it, because his wages alone make him by far the most expensive player in Roma's books. They're paying up to £7 to £8 million in like a loan fee for across the year. So it's a €15 million gamble essentially on getting into the top 4, which for a team with very little sell-on value across the whole squad, it's an aging squad with a few shining lights. It's difficult. Like, this is make or break for the Mourinho Roma project. Obviously, they are ahead in terms of he's already won the trophy. Yes, it's the Conference League, but they don't seem to care, do they? It was still great for Roma to happen. This has to be the year they get into Champions League football. Otherwise, Mourinho goes. Otherwise, I think the cards begin to tumble a bit, and I think you will see players like Abraham be sold and whatnot. I hope Lukaku can do a job. I'm interested to see what happens once the other guys are fit again and come back into the fold. Fingers crossed for him. I'm pleased he's got a club. He's going somewhere where he's going to be loved. They've already been painting murals of him, so he's going to appreciate all that. I just hope he doesn't balls this up, because what he did to Inter is a joke.
Yeah, 100%. And big rivals joining Roma as well. Wants to join Juve. Yeah, it's not ideal. And I totally agree about having to sell a star. I think it will be probably Lorenzo Pellegrini or Tammy Abraham next summer if they don't manage to improve on their league position. I think Lorenzo Pellegrini's actually started really well despite Roma's form not being great. So, big questions over Lukaku's move to Roma. I mean, Mourinho did spend, over £100 million in his first summer on the likes of Marash Kambula and Shomurodov and players like that who just all flopped. So, I don't have too much sympathy for him, if I'm being totally honest. McCubbs, let's move on to New Age Purist suggestion. This is actually more, open-minded. He says a winger to Atletico Madrid. So, you can suggest whoever really you want in this sort of area.
Yeah, this was a struggle, actually. I can't lie. I think the problem with Atleti is that, say they want a winger, but Simeone generally plays with a 3-5-2. So really you're looking at a right wing back. They're incredibly stacked on the left wing, to be honest. I mean, Javi Galan hasn't got a minute yet. There's even rumours that Bordalas wants to bring him to Getafe and take him off Atleti's hands already.
That wouldn't bode well, considering how much we've talked about.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's weird. Simeone clearly just doesn't fancy him
They've
already.
done some quite strange things before.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt Doherty barely played. Sergio Reguilon barely played. I know he was injured, but their fullbacks, he really has his favourites.
For sure. I mean, Reguilon's what was like a €32 million left back, and I think this is a bit of the problem with playing with wing backs, and especially Carrasco still far and away Simeone's favourite when it comes to that left wing back position. Then Samuel Lino apparently is kind of second choice there. So Galan's not getting any minutes, but they are pretty thin at right wing back. Nahuel Molina is their only real option, unless you want to try and play Aspie there, but that's not going to happen.
Dynamic.
Yeah. And then their only attacking right wing option is Angel Correa, who's been injured in and out of the team recently, kind of coming off the bench. But in that 3-5-2 formation, he's usually used as centre forward. So yeah, really Atleti are looking for a right wing back, and I found it really, really hard to find someone. I saw Felipe Anderson is out of contract next year at Lazio. Could he be a relatively cheap option if they did want to go for an attacker, perhaps? But equally, I think he's probably going to be quite important to Lazio this year. Started their first 2 games, like you say, Dukes, started really, really poorly in the league with those losses to Lecce and Genoa. And also Atleti just don't have any money to spend. I think they spent 33 million euros this summer, which if they were in Serie A, they'd be like the 12th biggest spenders. Like, they really have had no money to spend. I know La Liga in general, there has just been, very little in terms of expenditure. But yeah, I really struggled in terms of like cheap right wing back options with 2 days of the window remaining. I can't see it happening.
Yeah. Henry looks like
the positive is they're playing very well.
Yeah.
They are doing fine.
Yeah.
They blitzed. You mentioned
Ray
Correa,
Vallecano.
a beautiful chip against Vallecano. I think
who did look all over the place.
Yeah, they look shocking.
Yeah.
I'm actually, what we talked about flops at the start of the season. I'm beginning to think it might be Rayo this year, but I was thinking more of like a central midfielder. I'm surprised they haven't been able to get the Højbjerg deal through the door.
Well, the Højbjerg thing didn't happen, did it?
expensive,
And now Koke's out till the end of September. Yeah, I did see a couple of viewers suggesting a midfielder for Atleti as well in the comments, and yeah, they've kind of been calling for one all summer, haven't they? But at least with the midfield, there are bodies in there. Like, if you need Llorente to fulfill a defensive role, then he can, because he's done that before. I think the worry with the right is that if Molina gets injured, then they don't really have a viable backup there, unless he wants to convert a midfielder into a wing back.
Yeah.
Or just change formation. Like that's basically what would happen. I think he'd probably just have to revert maybe to a 4-4-2, which he's used a lot in the past. But this system works so well for Atleti that I feel like a wing back is, in terms of depth, in terms of challenging on all fronts this season, that's probably what they need.
Fair enough. Yeah, I saw Saul Niguez actually had quite a good game against Rayo Vallecano as well. Kind of forgot he existed.
I do forget as well, actually. He has, I'm pretty sure, played as a wing back at points, hasn't he?
Just played on the left.
Yeah.
I think on the left, maybe, from memory. But yeah, I think Atleti have got quite an interesting array of forwards. Probably none of them are 20 league goal plus per years, but if they can all chip in with 10, I think they're pretty well set. I think was it which one of you suggested Atleti for the league?
I did.
The Cubs.
Yeah.
Vinicius Junior injured. Barcelona a bit inconsistent.
Morata, Griezmann, and Depay all firing is pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Agreed. Marcus Llorente as well, looking a little bit better as well. Interesting. Right, let's move on to Travis Leveson 21 suggestion of a centre-back for Juventus. So, at the start of this season, Alexandro has fully moved into a left-sided centre-back role. Bremer and Danilo are their starting 3 centre-backs. That's pretty good. That's probably fine for Juve, given their financial situation right now. But there are other centre-back options. Gatti, Rugani, and Huijsen, I think, who's 18-year-old. He's a Dutch academy graduate as well. That is not good backup. Really not good backup. Bonucci looks almost certain to leave. He's been frozen out. There was talks about Union Berlin. There's talks about Lazio as well. You might have more information by the time this goes live. So I was thinking, centre-backs for Juve, difficult to do. 2 days left of the window. Not much money kicking around. Eric Dyer on loan?
I wanted him to go to Fulham.
Well, yeah, okay, maybe Fulham and Juve fight over him. And
he's also been. Who else has he been offered to?
Bayern,
yeah.
Yes, there was talk about Bayern as well. I don't know whether people are making up rumours about Bayern this summer because they just seem so unlikely. But hey ho.
Or Thomas Tuchel just loves
Premier League. He loves the Premier League. Nico Elvedi also has 1 year left on his deal at Gladbach. I feel like I've been recommending him for years, but I'm surprised. Maybe he's just not as good as I think.
He's also been very strongly linked with Everton in the last few days.
I saw that.
That's maybe something that will happen.
Surely you'd much rather go to Juve than Everton. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. Arthur Thiat, who plays for Rennes, amazing on the ball. He's currently injured, but left-sided centre-back in a back 3. Could replace Alexandro. Alexandro could also rotate with Cambiasso, who is playing currently at the left wing-back. and Timothy Weah is starting at right wing back as well. It's not the most exciting wing backs, but it seems to be working. Vlahovic has come back into a bit of form as well. So it's not all doom and gloom for Juve. They'll be disappointed to drop their first points of the season, though, at the weekend. Right, we've got two other suggestions. Sean 15 Mackenzie Henry says, Jota to Bayer Leverkusen. Now, there was speculation that Jota wanted to leave Al Ittihad.
Really? That would be...
Or that they wanted to get rid of him about a month into his time there.
Yeah.
But it seems a bit like it's calmed down now. He did score at the weekend.
I mean, it would just make no sense to move him on already. He's probably on wages which the likes of Bayer Leverkusen are never going to be carving up to and never should do, in all honesty. It's listen, he's made his bed, he has to sleep in it.
I think there might have been there was some rumour that it might have had something to do with them wanting Salah as well.
Oh really? Well, I saw
potentially, but
I saw apparently Benzema has been not wanted by Nuno Espirito Santo the other day, so who knows what's going on there. But yeah, I mean, listen, I love what Bayer Leverkusen are putting together. I hope they don't. I hope this is the squad that they. I hope that nothing happens in the coming.
You're basically
few
talking
days.
about Wirtz.
Yes, I'm talking about Florian Wirtz. I hope no one comes into him then. I hope nothing. Because this is the thing, like Eintracht, listening to that Kolo Muani, like the window's about to shut. Do you know what I mean? It's such a nightmare for them. And the guy signed like a 5-year deal, so they don't actually they don't need to let him go straight away. Like, you've got to build towards something, and Bayer Leverkusen are certainly building towards something with what they've done at the rest of the window. The way they performed so far in the early stages of the season.
And their window's been pretty good.
Yeah, their window's been fantastic, as you said. Boniface got a double at the weekend too. We saw Granit Xhaka getting on the score sheet against Mönchengladbach. I mean, yeah, I think I tipped them for seconds after Bayern Munich, because I do think that Kane transfer just wraps that up.
yeah.
But yeah, they're going to have a fantastic season. Nathan Tella as well. All credit to him for taking that move. Good luck to him. It seems like a really nice guy. We've done bits with him, I think, for Football Daily over the years. I'm pleased to see him.
Friend of the channel.
Friend of the channel. you know. So yeah, good luck to them all. But yeah, I mean, David De Gea to Roma. I'm interested to see what you guys think.
Yeah, from Adam Khan series of numbers.
Yeah, I wrote about this. I haven't seen any gossip about this since May, but Rui Patricio is a major hazard. He is a major hazard.
I don't know what's happened to him in Rome.
Honestly,
he's become so average.
He had quite a poor season at Wolves before he went there as well. Like he's
He's
been a
quite
while.
old as well.
even the first goal they conceded at the weekend against Verona, it's just like a simple shot which he's like palm back in. So last year his 6.4 post shot XG against, that was the second worst in Serie A behind. So I already told the Cubs this, but Andrea Consigli of Sassuolo, he was negative 14.5. That's 14.5 goals he was expected to have saved, which he didn't last season.
That's like worse than Danny Ward or Gavin Bazunu.
It's horrific. Sassuolo, if they haven't got a keeper in already, that should be their deadline saving.
Fair
Yeah, I mean, where do you think that David De Gea goes? Because it's probably going to be Saudi Arabia. I was looking around. Bayern, there's talk. What Manuel Neuer, could he take someone? Could he replace Manuel Neuer at Bayern Munich? I'm not sure. I certainly don't think he's going to go to Roma. Now Roma have allocated so much wage.
Yeah, it's the wages, man. It's just he's
like Villarreal. They're using a graduate in goal at the moment. Would he take a humble kind of step down to someone like Villarreal? Where do you guys think he goes? Because he's 32 years old. He's substantially better than Rui Patricio, in my opinion, in every aspect. Yeah. But I still don't know where he gets a move.
He's probably taken a bit of a humbling this summer, seeing the lack of sort of links with him, and he'd probably have to take a third of his salary elsewhere. I mean, that would still be over 100k a week. So he's not going to be on hard times, is he? But it's incredibly difficult to see him going anywhere.
Even like Sevilla sold Bonu, didn't they? And they bought in Nyland. They bought in. Everywhere you turn in terms of the keeper market, Inter Milan taking in Sommer, like doors have just been shut continuously for him. Kepa Arrizabalaga going to Madrid as the backup now. Like, I think it's pretty telling that they'd rather go for Kepa than go for David De Gea at this moment. And that's no discredit to David De Gea. I just don't know what he's meant to do. I just don't think that Adam Khan, I don't think he's going to Roma at all.
Yeah. The sad thing is that Man United did offer him a new contract as well and then took it away, according to reports as well. So I think he's rightly going to be a little bit upset. I mean, McCubs, have you...
What thought?
Saudi?
I mean, if he wants to stay on similar wages, then Saudi's the only place, isn't it? But I have been surprised at how little interest there's seemingly been in him. I did see stuff about Bayern. Does he necessarily suit suit Bayern. Not so sure, but like I think he's still a top 10 shot stopper in the world. It's just the other parts of his game that are lacking. I think he's still very much a Champions League keeper, but like you say, it just it feels like his options are running out fast. And if they do run out, if nothing happens in the next 2 days, then Saudi will literally be his only option.
Yeah, we got problems.
Or the MLS maybe.
Yeah. Oh, true. Good suggestion. Right, David De Gea. Good luck in the next couple of days. Good luck to all these potential transfers as well. Let us know what you guys thought of them. Which ones we missed out on? Which transfer would you like to see your club do before the deadline? And let's move on to our big match predictions. Okay, it's the first official week of big match predictions because last week was only pre-season, as we called it. Annoyingly, it didn't count because I did well in pre-season and didn't do well this week, unlike someone else on this trio. Right, let's go through it. Napoli versus Sassuolo. It was 2-0 to Napoli. Henry and Mikey getting 3 points. Myself just one. Sharing a score on the first prediction.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Oh, my goodness. What am I up against this year? Right, PSG versus Lens. I went 1-0. Henry went 3-0. My Cubs went 3-1. It was 3-1. Double perfect score. Yeah. Bosh, indeed.
Double bosh.
Love that. So my Cubs is on fire.
We don't see many of those, do we? It's
true.
I'm pretty sure that never happened to me last season.
No.
That might actually be...
I think you've got about a third of your points.
That might be the amount of perfect scores I got in total last season.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely. I never got a perfect score.
Yeah. Well, enjoy it while it lasts. No. That sounded very vindictive. No, I'm sure you'll have plenty more. Right, Villarreal versus Barcelona. You guys went with the draw. I went 1-0 to Barcelona, expecting it to be dull. It was 4-3.
Yeah, what a game that was, man.
Mental. Lamine Yamal, what a hero. Yeah. So, the scores after 1 week are my Cubs is on 6, Henry's on 4, and I am on 2. So, work to do. Right, Henry, we're kicking off with Roma versus Milan, which takes place Friday night, 7:45 p.m. It's 13th versus 1st at this early stage. There's already 5 points between them. We've talked about Roma. We've talked about Lukaku. How do you see this game going?
Yeah, I mean, they have been poor, haven't they? I mean, the thing is, though, the stats show, although they conceded 4, it's only 1.3 expected goals against. And I know
that's best in Serie A.
Is that the best in Serie A?
But they were like this last year as well. They are very good at conceding very few. But then
Patricio's -2 expected.
Yeah.
So he's at fault there. I mean,
the season with a bang.
Even if you look at that Verona game, it was just so bad, isn't it? I mean, and then Salernitana, in fairness to Candreva, he scored 2 absolute,
howitzers.
It was just unbelievable. So I don't think it's as bleak as perhaps the table is making it out to be. It's certainly frustrating for Roma fans because they want to be involved in these conversations at the top of the table. And as you said, at the top, Napoli, Inter and AC have all got 6 points from 6. Juve looking good too. So, yeah, I wouldn't worry so far. But this has probably come at the wrong time for them as a fixture. I mean, they shouldn't be losing to Verona anyway. Verona only just survived last year. So, yeah. And also Paulo Dybala's injured as well, which doesn't really help at all. He came off against Verona early doors. Apparently it's not as bad as they first feared, but still, it feels like it's been a while since he's just been constantly fit. And that's what we want to see of Dybala. Milan on the other side, flying. They have they've got quite a few penalties. That's what I would say. That said, you can't deny the connection that Pulisic, Giroud, and Loftus-Cheek in particular, 3 old Chelsea lads, seem to have put together. It's just unbelievable. It's great. To see Pulisic up and firing is so good. I think he's a brilliant.
Did you hear the Milan commentator? I think it's like the internal Milan commentator for like Milan TV. When Pulisic scored, he just kept on going, "Yeah, baby!" Using the Americanisms.
Yeah, so good.
They're fully embracing it.
Stuff is great. Yeah.
Oh, they should do. They're looking like a really dangerous side. I'll be really intrigued to see how in the Champions League draw, sort of where they're seeded and who they get. Because I don't think it's going to be a fun trip for any team this year. But in this game in particular, I still think it could be a draw. I still think that Roma, they need to wise up a little bit. I'm going to go for 1-1. I know it's really boring, but I still think that Roma, there's a lot of pressure on them to get a result here. And I think a draw would do neither team much harm. Also, Roma haven't won against them in Serie A since 2019, so I'm not backing that.
Fair enough. McCubs, are you in agreement with the draw?
No, I think I'll go for a Milan win here. I'll go 3-2 to Milan. I think it's going to be exciting.
Thriller. I will go 2-1 to Milan, continuing the early season momentum. It's great to see Reinders hit the ground running. Teo Hernandez has looked really good. Rafael, the whole team's just, considering how many new parts of it, it's just really impressive. So, yeah, Milan to keep that momentum going for me. Right, let's move on to Gladbach versus Bayern, our second game, Saturday, 5:30 p.m. 12th versus second, 5 points between them already at this early stage. McCubs, it hasn't been pretty for Gladbach so far.
Nah, we were kind of worried about Gladbach, weren't we, before the season started? Major outgoings in terms of talent. Like we were saying, Elvedi could be gone by the time we're watching this. Another key player gone. Kone and Kramer both doubts for this game as well. They've conceded over 5 expected goals already. Conceded 4 against Augsburg at the start in that opening weekend. Got smashed by Leverkusen last weekend. Yeah, it's like they could not have picked a worse time to play Bayern. And I know they've got like quite a good record against Bayern over the last few years, but Bayern are cooking. Like the Kane signing is so good. Alphonso Davies is on fire. I think I was seeing like Alphonso Davies 3 assists from those first 2 fixtures. He's already won off his total from last season. I think 5 is his best ever tally in a season, which was back that kind of 1920 season, his kind of breakout campaign as a left back. He actually hasn't been that productive since then, which I think has kind of led to him being a little bit underrated among kind of the world's best left backs. Like he looks like maybe the world's best left back at this moment in time. Like he's
not a lot of competition,
so good, yeah. And Leroy Sané as well, who you were full of criticism for last week on Sunday Vibes.
He listened.
He certainly has been
I'm not
listening.
full of criticism.
No,
I
joking.
just think he was... I had to pick an overrated left winger, if you guys haven't watched the episode, and I did pick Leroy Sané. I don't want to pick Leroy Sané, but I think his output hasn't been as good as someone of his talent.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, given that, he was, seemed on course to be kind of one of the top 3-4 forwards in the world. That was very, very fair analysis from you. But go and check that out. That Sunday Vibes out if you haven't already. It's pretty spicy in terms of if you want some hot takes. But Leroy Sané has been brilliant as well. Like I was saying, so yeah, everyone's kind of firing. All the people that you want to at Bayern are firing. I think this is going to be super, super comfortable for them. I think this might be like 4-1.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I think they look pretty comfortable defensively as well. Maybe it's slightly more... Tuchel's quite a pragmatic manager at times, and Kim Min-jae, I think, has made a big difference. I saw him put a lovely through pass into midfield at the weekend as well. He looks really, really good, seamlessly adapted. So their big summer signings have really worked out. Still feels like Bayern might do something quite random in the final few days of the window, but we'll wait and see. In terms of this one, you said 4-1. I might go 3-0 to Bayern.
Ooh, yeah. How good was Kane's second goal, by the way?
Yeah.
That kind of I've not seen a finish like that from him in a while. Yeah, it's weird wanting Kane to do well.
Have you got used to it?
What?
We're just seeing him in a Bayern shirt.
I do. I like it. I think it looks good. It's weird. There's a little video of him in the lederhosen I found fun. But yeah, it's weird wanting him to do well, but not
when Thomas
really
was like, you must cut it diagonally.
Obviously,
like some bratwurst.
Seeing Bayern win like a 12th Bundesliga would suck, but also seeing Kane do well,
finally get a trophy,
is interesting.
I saw Ian Wright was wearing a Bayern Munich Kane shirt on his podcast the other day, which just says it all about like the
level of feeling towards him.
The level of feeling towards him now. He's not in the Premier League, and now he's not like instantly the subject of like silly banter about like not winning a trophy at Spurs. Like it is funny to see. Like
he's now leading the line for one of the world football's elite clubs, and he's doing it in style. It's wicked. So go Harry.
And as we talk,
but yeah, I don't know. It's just really cool to see like him and Bellingham just both crushing it. I will go 4-0. If you've gone 3-0, I'll go 4-0. Yeah, I can't see Gladbach scoring.
Fair. And as we talked about on Sky Sports News this morning, Henry, actually, Hayley McQueen, the presenter, mentioned it. He's going to get very used to German stadiums as well before the Euros next summer, which might bode well. Well. I do really like England's options right now.
I saw them asking him last week if he'd ever heard of Augsburg. He was like, yeah, I have heard of them. Yeah.
That's jokes. Right, final game. Napoli versus Lazio, Saturday, 7:45 p.m. 2nd versus 18th. Lazio have had a shocking start. There's only 6 points between them. It is, of course, early days, so take this all with a pinch of salt. There are also numerous other games to pay attention to this weekend. There's also Union Berlin versus Leipzig. Union Berlin have been exceptional so far. Atletico Madrid versus Sevilla and Lyon versus PSG. I think we've talked about PSG in a lot of detail, pretty much every big match prediction so far. So let's talk Napoli-Lazio. Napoli started the season fairly comfortably. 3-1 win away at Frosinone and 2-0 at home to 10 men Sassuolo. Goals from Osimhen and a really nice Di Lorenzo finish, actually. And Raspadori missed a penalty as well. So it could have been even more comfortable. It's probably too early, given the calibre of teams they've already faced, to take too many learnings, let's say, from the start of the Rudy Garcia era. But their shots are up. Their shots against per game are only slightly up as well. So it doesn't look like too many changes. And nor should there be, really, because they didn't lose too many of their starting 11, except for Kim Min-jae, really. And Osimhen started the season in absolutely excellent form once again. He's at over 1 XG per 90. Di Lorenzo's got 1 goal and 2 assists already. So things are looking great in Naples. In the blue side of Rome, not so much. Not so much at all. 2 games, 2 defeats versus Lecce and Genoa. Genoa, who have been currently being linked to Tanguy Ndombele as well, might be off the cards.
Yeah.
Well, do you think, does it look like it's going to happen?
I think Fabrizio said that a deal had basically been agreed, but I guess it just depends whether Ndombele wants it. So
yeah, I can see him struggling, well, not going to Genoa personally, but then he doesn't.
Down, isn't it,
but then he doesn't have so many options. I don't know. He should have sorted out a move earlier.
Big step down.
But Lazio as well. Poor start to the season. 1 win in 5 against Napoli, although that was a 1-0 win away against them in March. And yeah, they looked pretty wasteful against Genoa. They had 16 shots, but they only got 2 on target. And no team has underperformed their XG more in Serie A, so it's not looking too good. And they've got a tough run of fixtures as well. They've got Milan and Juve and Napoli, of course, in their next 5. I think the Napoli train continues in this one. I think it'll be tighter than previous. Than I could have said. I will go an improved performance from Lazio, but I'll go 1-0 to Napoli. Henry.
Yeah, I think Lazio can get a goal in this, but still, I'm with you. I'm going to go 2-1 Napoli.
2-1. The Cubs, can you see a shock?
2-0.
2-0. Straight up.
Straight up.
There we have it, guys.
Always my Napoli score that.
Okay. It's good for you. It's good for you. Can the
well.
Cubs' win machine continue, or point machine continue, I should say? Let's find out on next week's episode. But guys, that's all we've got time for on Continental Club for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Let us know what you guys thought of those potential deadline day deals and those big match predictions. If they've enjoyed this, Henry, what should they go and watch now?
Well, you may notice we're sometimes on Sky Sports now between 10 and 12 on Tuesday to Thursday. So I think us three are appearing a fair bit. So yeah, please do go check that out if you can. In terms of content that we've been producing, McCubbin, what would you
Transfer talk from yesterday. Myself and Zach was on it.
Final one, probably.
Yeah, final one. Quite a chaotic episode. We were just kind of running through a ton of transfers, which may already have been out of date by now. But such is the nature of the final few days of the window. But yeah, we discussed in particular the Ansu Fati potential loan to Spurs. Who saw that one coming?
Sevilla or Spurs? Where would you go if you were Ansu Fati?
Spurs, yeah.
There we go.
I mean, just
join the hype train.
Yeah, join Ange. It's just the Ange factor, isn't it? Most exciting manager in world football right now. Yeah.
I was going to try and sing a bit of the Ange Postecoglou song, but I can't get the rhythm right.
What, Robbie Williams' one? Or the one that Robbie Williams sang?
Yeah.
I'm loving Big Ange instead.
That's
There
it.
you go.
And through it all. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. We will catch you next week. Bye-bye.